Well, good evening and welcome to the Town Hall Get to Know broadcast. We appreciate the fact that you are joining us this evening. I've got a very special guest I'm very excited about tonight. And I will do this right off the bat. I've just got to thank Ruben Loing for introducing me and saying, hey, look, you need to get to know this person. She is so awesome. So, Ruben, we appreciate you very much. Uh, I've got, like I said, a very special guest. She's so dynamic. I love this video I'm going to play for you in just a moment here, and then we'll bring her on. But let me tell you a little bit about Luisa. Luisa joined Toastmasters actually in 1989, and she rejoined, though. She was there for about 3 years and then came back in 2013. And she's been a member ever since of Toastmasters. Last year, she competed in the World Championship of Public Speaking, which consisted of 143 countries and over 33,000 people competing. She advanced to the finals, where she received second place. So awesome. Luisa is the first Hispanic woman to achieve this level, and she hopes one day to win first prize. So we'll be thinking about that for. Let's set that intention for Luisa to be first place and win the World Public Speaking Competition. That would be so awesome. She's born and raised in South Texas. I know about Texas. I lived out in Tyler for a few years. It's a big state. Everything's bigger in Texas, by the way. That's what they say. Nonetheless, she later moved to Austin, which is a great town as well. Love Austin. She worked at Abbott Laboratories for about 25 years. She retired at the age of 53, and she's been busy taking care of homeless dogs, which is so awesome because, of course, this Town Hall Get to Know broadcast is about top influencers like Luisa who are making a positive impact in the community. And she certainly is. And she takes care of dogs, homeless dogs, and gives them the opportunity to get a good family. She's been doing that for quite a while now. She goes up to New York and takes dogs there. We'll find out more about that in just a few moments. So you don't want to miss this. Stay tuned with us. Get your questions ready. If you've got any questions or comments, we'll certainly address as many as we possibly can. But without further ado, let me go ahead and do this. I'm going to go play this video, and you can get a feel for Luisa. And this is, as I recall, the presentation that she made that won her this award as a runner-up, first runner-up. Here we go.
Luisa Montalvo, First Impressions. First Impressions, Luisa Montalvo.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Luisa Montalvo, and I'm from South Texas. In South Texas, we ride horses. We carry guns. We all own a ranch. We got an oil well in our backyard. Heck, we like sipping tea, and we wear cowboy hats and cowboy boots everywhere, even in the shower. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters from around the world, and everyone else, even if you're not from Texas. Recently, I was approached by a gentleman, and he said, "You're from South Texas, but you don't have an accent." I felt so sorry for him. I responded with, "Golly gosh darn it, I'm sorry about that." I didn't have the heart to tell him I don't own a horse. And I still don't know who shot JR. It's easy to have misconceptions of different people. You see, we are influenced by social media, movies, and television. I myself am still trying to break any stigma related to my race. You see, I want what everybody else wants, a level playing field. For 28 years, I lived in South Texas, and that was my security blanket. And then I moved 6 hours north to Austin, Texas, and didn't realize I was about to have a life learning experience. Now, I'm the kind of person that will actually pull over and help you change a flat tire. I'll even pick up hitchhikers and give them a ride. And one day, I was driving home from my brand new job. Traffic is going its usual 5 miles an hour. And up on the hill, I noticed a woman with long black hair, khaki slacks. She was rummaging through the trunk of her car that was pulled over. I immediately pulled over to assist because I noticed she had a flat tire. I was so excited to help her, and imagine my surprise when he turned around. He was a young Hispanic male, tattoos up and down his arms and hands, across his chest and up his neck. He had an unkempt beard and a bandana that covered his entire forehead. Hey, you got a yak or something I can borrow? He must have noticed the shocked look I had on my face, because then he said, hey, you know me? No, sir, contrary to popular belief, we don't all know each other. And it's pronounced Jack, not yak. Hey, you going to give me an English lesson or you going to help me? No, sir, I'll help you. And that's when I realized I was afraid of him. I thought, he wouldn't do anything to me in broad daylight out here, would he? I slowly walked backwards to the trunk of my car, just in case. But then I thought, wait a minute. I need to go on the offensive. I need to make him be afraid of me. I rummaged through the trunk of my car. I found an old beanie, a tire iron, and a hammer. And just in case, I pulled out the Mexican international symbol of peace, the rosary. As I approached him, he said, hey, you're just gonna help me change my tire, right? I said, yes, but you don't want to mess with me because I know Mexican judo. Mexican judo? What's that? I said, you don't know if I got a gun? You don't know if I got a knife? You don't know if I'm crazy. Oh, no. I just can't get my tire off. I took my hammer, took my crowbar. I pulled out the tire, put on the new one. Under 5 minutes. He said, wow, that was amazing. Thank you. He said, my name is Jesus. Of course it is. I shook his hand. He said, hey, I don't have any money to pay you, but I could tell you a yoke. Okay, Jesus, what's your joke? He said, okay, you're gonna love this. Okay, ready? You ready? Okay. 2 Mexicans walk out of a bar. It could happen. Jesus, I don't get it. Well, no, usually we're escorted or we're kicked out. But we never just walk out. No. Funny, I like that. We exchanged numbers, and as he drove off into the sunset, I realized the only difference between him and I, or you and me, are the clothes we choose to wear and what we hold in our minds and in our hearts. You see, how could I have asked the world to give me a level playing field when I hadn't done this for my fellow man? I was embarrassed and ashamed. We are living through troubled times right now, and it seems like we're always living through troubled times. So I ask you to join me, and please let go of the first impressions, the misjudgments. You see, when I was a little girl, my mother asked me if I knew what I wanted to be in life. Mom, I'm only 8. She said, Luisa, whatever you do, make the world a better place. I am Luisa Montalvo, and I'm trying. Y'all come back now, here.
Luisa, that is so awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That is so just wonderful. I just love that. I tell you. I just want to welcome you to the Town Hall Get to Know broadcast. We're so excited that you're here tonight. We're going to be talking about speaking, of course, but we're also going to be talking as well about what you're doing with the dogs, too, because I think that that's so awesome. Bless you for that. I want to let the viewers know if you have a question for Luisa or a comment or a thought, put that in there if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll try and address those comments. We certainly appreciate you. I also like to thank our sponsors, Total Coatings here in Sarasota, Florida, as well as Cool Today. And stay tuned, and we'll give you information about their services at the end of the video here, or video broadcast, I should say. So welcome, Luisa. And how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Um, so why don't you help the viewers get to know you a little bit better? Why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Well, as you stated in the intro, I was born and raised here in South Texas. So this is my hometown. After moving to Austin and completing my work journey, I retired and moved back here to spend more time with my mother. After the loss of my father, I realized what was important, and spending as much time with my mom was up there on the list. And the best way to do that was just to move back here, which I did. And I'm so glad I did, because of this gave me the opportunity to rejoin Toastmasters and present the speech that you just saw. Had it not been, I believe, for me not moving back here, because I stumbled upon the Toastmaster Club by accident.
Hmm.
Phyllis Allen, who is my mentor, she just turned 90 years old.
Oh,
And
wow.
if I can be, in fact, all the plaques you see behind me are hers. They're not mine.
Ah,
They are hers. I'm here in her office.
oh,
But if it wasn't for her starting the clubs down here in South Texas, I probably would never have been able to achieve what I did, just because, like I said, when I went to the local library, when I first moved here, I didn't have internet. And she had put a poster up on the library door. It said join Toastmasters. And I said, oh, yes, absolutely. I remembered how much fun and just how much you're able to learn by joining this organization, that I knew I had to rejoin. So thanks to her, and the ability to be able to retire and move down here and spend more time with my mom.
yeah,
That's been the highlight of my life, along, of course, now with I moved in a dog direction, but we'll talk about that
yeah,
later.
yeah. Well, that's really awesome too, as well, to be able to be near your mother. I know that that was something I did too, as well. That's how I ended up in Sarasota, by the way, because my parents were here, and it's like, that's very commendable. A family is super important, for
Yes.
sure. It is. And now I want you to tell us about Toastmasters. I know for myself, I have thought about it many times, getting involved in Toastmasters. I've given speeches in the past. It was more like sales oriented stuff for the companies I was working with. But I've never done it professionally, like you do, because that's what you do. Well, tell us about the Toastmasters, and why somebody would want to get involved in Toastmasters.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak about that. Toastmasters International is, again, worldwide. Started by Ralph C. Smedley in California almost 100 years ago. He realized there was a need for the common man or regular person to be able to get up and speak in front of an audience. I believe it was Carnegie that had started kind of the whole motion to get that in play. And Ralph Smedley thought, you know what, instead of just being for the upper echelon to be able to enjoy this or perfect this, let's offer this to the regular layman, which is exactly what Toastmasters does. So you don't have to have any qualification except you've got to be over 18 years old. And they have branched out again worldwide. And it's so amazing because this last conference, the video you saw, was actually my first international conference. And there were over 4,000 people there from all over the world. And
Wow.
everybody working on either leadership skills, presentation skills, anything you, in fact, I joined specifically to compete. But because of Phyllis Allen and her sight and foresight for me to be able to do different things. She had me working in a leadership manual. She also had me working in presentation skills with children, younger kids, and to be able to influence someone at the age of 10 or even 15 and be able to say, look, if you can master this now, the rest of your life will be so great. It's unfortunate that we actually judge a person on the level of whether they can speak properly, speak correctly, how they're able to present. And you see all the great leaders, and they have mastered the art of communication. And when you can do that, and Toastmasters allows you to do that, when you can do that, and then even start them, like I said, children at a young age, because we have the Gavel Club, and those are for 18 years and younger.
Mm.
We went to elementary schools, we went to junior highs, and we're giving them lessons, and they're just so eager to learn. And if you can plant that seed early in their life and give them that one boost up to where later on in life their life is going to be easier, it's a tremendous payoff. It's a tremendous payoff.
Yes. Well, I think a lot of people are scared to death to think about speaking in front of a crowd, you know?
And actually, they say the number one fear is public speaking. The second fear is dying. So if you can knock dying out and you're number one on that fear, and Toastmasters has an amazing way to help you conquer that fear. So I think I don't have a fear, but when they announce my name, the hair stands up on the back of my neck and I get that nervousness and the butterflies start going in the stomach. So I don't really think you ever lose that feeling. However, you learn to control it and master it so you can go on and present the way you need to present.
Yeah, that's so cool. And that's what Toastmasters do then, right? Is they help
Yes,
you refine those skills and learn methods to be able to be the best speaker that you can possibly be.
absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
it's a great thing because in my experience, when you face your fears and step into that rather than back away from it, that becomes then that opportunity to learn and grow as a result of it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Once you've conquered that or mastered it, it's no longer what's holding you back. It's not your hindrance anymore. So you can move on to something else.
Excellent. And so you mentioned some leaders and some very, very influential people like Carnegie, that were so dynamic and then they influenced people like Napoleon Hill and others that went out there to get to know people that were successful.
Yes.
And I'm just curious. So, what was it that prompted you to decide you gotten involved in the beginning? Was the thing that made you decide, hey, I think I want to try this?
Actually, back in 1989, when I first joined Toastmasters, I remember walking down the hallway at Abbott Labs, and I had just started working there a few years earlier.
Hmm.
And I walked by one of the rooms where they usually hold meetings, and I heard people laughing. And I looked into the little window of the door, and I can see a gentleman up there on stage, and he's giving a speech, and people are laughing. And I put my ear to the crack, and I'm listening, and I'm thinking, I think I'm funnier than he is. I wonder what's going on. So
Right.
after he finished his speech, the sergeant at arms let me into the room, and I said, "What's going on?" And the gentleman said, "We're having a contest. If you'd like to take a seat, you can stay for the rest of the contest." And I think my mother instills competitiveness in all three of her offspring so that we are just so competitive. So once I got the bug of wanting to compete, I mean, it's overtaken me ever since then. So when I rejoined, I started again to compete. And this was actually my seventh year. Last year was my seventh year
Okay.
competing, trying to just break at the district level. And finally, 7 years later, I was able to achieve that and go on, which was more than what I had dreamt of. It was more than a dream come true. So I'm just glad that this is a vital lesson in persistence. If you really want something, just keep going till you get it, or you die trying.
Right, exactly. I think that that's an important factor. It is about that persistence, and pursuing that desire and not giving up,
Right.
because you might give up right before you end up taking the top honors.
Yes, and then all that was for nothing. So you have to stop and
Yeah.
think, I did all that for nothing. I just keep going one more time or just a little further. You're
Yeah.
so close to it. But yes, persistence.
Persistence is super important. I just got to say that I'm so proud of what you've done, and I'm so grateful to Ruben, who said,
Yes.
"Boy, you gotta see this. This is really awesome." Now, you know Ruben, right?
Yes, I do.
What a guy! And
Yes, he's another persistent gentleman. I mean, he's achieved so much in his life, so it's amazing to hear his story also.
it is such a dynamic guy, and a veteran. Uh,
Yes.
thank you, Ruben. By the way, I believe you're watching for your service to our country for real. Ex or a retired Navy SEAL.
Navy SEAL.
But what caught me is that I happened to just catch a speech that he was giving, and he had filmed this, or it was filmed for Toastmasters, and I thought, wow, gosh, it's like I wish I could talk like that. I wish I was like that good.
And just to give Toastmaster an opportunity. Ruben has grown so much. We all grow because once we learn what it is we need to do to be able to better our presentation skills,
Yeah,
if we just take that advice and run with that, Ruben has become an amazing speaker. I'm really proud of his advancement.
yeah. So that's really awesome, and I just got to stop not doing it and procrastinating about it, because and it's a good way to get to know the people in your community too as well.
Also, also.
Yeah. Um, okay. So uh, I gotta ask you. Well, is comedy something that you just really like? Because I crack up when I watch that, but I get the chills too, because of course your message is so powerful. But comedy, you like that, right?
Absolutely love it. My dad would allow us to stay up probably on Friday nights and watch the Johnny Carson show. And there were so many amazing comedians, and to be able to watch them and just pick up on their styles and how they actually got the audience to react and to laugh. I thought that was really, really amazing. And it got to where I would watch somebody and I would either say the line they were about to say, or I would tell my dad, he's not that funny, Dad. And my dad would say, you and your brother, I think, are funnier than this guy. And I'm like, you're right, you're right. But I love comedy. If there's a way that you want to get your message across, I believe comedy is one of the best ways to do it. One of the best ways.
Well, I see here that Ruben, he says, my only fear is being evaluated by you. I didn't think Ruben could be scared by anything. I mean, come on, he's also a professional boxer, right?
And I'll ask him. I said, "Do you want me to evaluate your speech?" And he'll say, "Absolutely." I'll say, "Okay, this is what I'm going to be looking for," and I'll tell him in advance. I said, "You need to improve on this and this and this." He goes, "Okay, I got it. I got it." And he's been listening to me because it's working, so he's getting better. So
Yeah. Well, and I talked to him too about my morning broadcast, and one of these days we'll be rebroadcasting some of his stuff. I know that we're working on that part too for
very
my
good, very
publication.
good, excellent.
And so I just kind of fell into the speaking thing, so to say, and now I find myself as as a voice, a speaker, and a person that's just trying to help people empower themselves. Really, when it gets down to it, yes, okay, it is about empowerment and empowering
Yes.
yourself to be able to break through some barriers and facing your fears. Now, I do want to know, was that speech based on a real experience?
The answer to the question, my father always says, answer the question first and elaborate later.
Okay.
So the answer to the question is absolutely. However, I had to tweak it because it was actually three gentlemen that got out of the car, and I was so terrified. And I thought my life was going to end that day. And they were just so, oh my gosh, I was just so afraid of them. And after everything was over, the gentleman, Jesus, offered me money for helping him change his tire. And I said, no, that's fine. He goes, go buy a 6-pack. And I said, no, we're good. Thank you. He goes, thank you so much. He goes, I don't think anybody else would have stopped to help us. And I had to agree. And I felt terrible that the one thing that I want people to do is not judge me, but yet it was the very first thing I did with them. And that's because they were Hispanics, they were Mexicans also. So if I'm doing it, I just wanted my audience to take away and step back and say, I think I'm guilty of that. I might have
Mm,
done that also. You never want to attack your audience. You want to lead them to where you want them to be, where you want them to think. And because that was such a true experience, I said, you know what, I'm going to use this. And anytime you get raw with your emotions, people listen to that because we don't talk about that as much as we should, I feel. And I think if I can make you laugh along the way of realizing or making you realize you might be a hypocrite, let's do it. Let's do it because I know I am. And I'll be the first one to say I was guilty of that.
yeah.
So yes, humor is amazing. It was a true experience. I realized when I was competing in another contest where you actually had to basically make up a fairy tale. I actually had to resort to a real life experience that happened to me. And that's when I realized I have no imagination, which was scary. So yes, that was a real life situation. That was when I had just moved to Austin and I was terrified. And thankfully it worked out the way it did, and it made me realize who I am and what I was doing, and I've tried to correct that ever since.
Yeah. I mean, I found myself in a situation in the past, yeah, that I had been pretty judgmental. I've been working on trying to be not judgmental for a long time.
So
And
hard.
yeah, it is not easy.
It's so
It is
hard.
not easy. All this preconceived stuff in our minds about,
Yes.
what is this? Or you see, like you said, the tattoos, and it's like, it's like, oh my
Yep.
goodness.
Yes.
Um, and so I found myself being pretty quick to judge others based upon their appearance. And I've come to learn that that's not the way to do it. It's not what's on the outside. It is what's on the inside.
There you
And I tell you, you got a heart of gold, Luisa.
go.
You
Well, thank
do.
you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, I think raising the awareness of particularly, the prejudgment and involving the race, because, there's been impression for people. And the fact is that when you get down to it, we're all just one, right? We're all connected.
It's a human
And
race.
yeah, we are the human race.
That's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
And so, especially these days, it's really super important, I think, to be respectful of everybody, whether we think they deserve it or not, right?
Yes. So hard. So hard.
Not easy, not easy. But what is that? I mean, if it was easy, then what is that? Easy street? Well, yeah, you're probably in a comfort zone. You
Right.
know, at least that's what I found myself whenever I found myself getting really complacent, then trouble was looming. In the past, right? Uh, versus trying to be aware and in the moment, and challenging myself.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, so I would love for you to share with the viewers your concept of what is a good leader.
Ooh, that's an excellent question. And of course, we're all going to have different answers to that.
Sure.
And I think to me is a great leader is somebody that doesn't demand something from you, but merely by their actions, it makes you want to do the same. So it's a free will. Like, I want to be like that person because that person is amazing. And to me, many times the people don't even realize that they're influencing, that they're impacting, that they could actually be a good leader. I think as soon as someone says, well, you need to lead this group to do this, the fear, the anxiety, all that, am I going to do this right? What am what am I doing? I don't even know what I'm doing. So to me, a great leader is someone who influences you so much that you just want to better yourself. You want to mold yourself to almost the same fashion of this other person. So that's to me, it's a great leader, someone who leads without even trying.
Hmm. I think that's a great description of it. And you're right. There's a lot that goes into being a good leader, I think.
Yep.
And certainly one of the best is going to be certainly non-judgment
Yes.
and not preconceived notions. Absolutely, absolutely.
There you go.
Um, well, maybe you'll talk as well about maybe why a person. Yeah, I know you kind of did this earlier, but why should a person get involved in Toastmasters?
There are so many organizations, and I've joined different organizations. And usually the organization is, how can you help the organization? How can you get us to be a better organization, a bigger organization? And with Toastmasters, the only thing Toastmasters wants you to get is to be a better whatever you joined for. If you join to become a better leader, then Toastmasters is going to help you get there. If you join to be a better public speaker, if you join to get better at your job, if you join to be able to give better interviews, job interviews, if you join because you're a teacher and you have that fear of presenting in front of your students, Toastmasters is one of the few organizations that I know of that wants you personally to be better. It's not there is no what's in it for Toastmasters. It's not that.
Right.
It's you can actually turn around and say, what's in it for me? You know what? Everything is in it for you. And it's nothing, there's no, okay, well, by this date, you need to have done this project. And then by this date, you need to have this completed. And be sure you do it this way. There's none of that. It's at your own speed, your own comfort level. And what it really winds up being in the long run is you have a Toastmaster of family. And one member said it best because she says, Toastmasters is the place to fail. Because you want to fail in front of your friends, in front of your family. And they're going to say, you know what? Maybe don't do this. Maybe try this. And then when you actually go out and hit the real world, you're ready. You're ready because Toastmasters has gone and been able to help you evaluate your speech, help you be a better presenter. So once you hit the real world, that's when you're going to use all these skills that you've learned and mastered. And that's when you really need it. You don't need it when you're in a Toastmaster meeting. We're all there to listen, to help you be a better speaker, better leader. So you really need that as a stepping stone to be able to go out into the real world and prove yourself. That's what I think. That's how I feel. And that's exactly what it's done for me.
That's excellent. And I think that you made a good point. A person might feel a little bit more comfortable around people that they know and that they trust, versus being in front of strangers,
Okay.
so that they can learn to get that confidence, to speak in front of that crowd.
Absolutely.
And you talked about failure, and I think uh, that it's good because in my book, failure is like one step closer to success.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
it depends on how you look at it, but that's how I look at it.
I think it's better to try and fail than again to have never tried at all. So
Well, it is, and growth doesn't come out of a comfort zone. It just doesn't.
you're right.
And by applying, I guess, some faith in yourself, to be willing to not worry about other judgment too, because that's a big thing for people, is people's other judgment. I think that's one of the biggest fears, is it not?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. In fact, my semifinal speech before I gave this one was actually about believing in yourself. We are so quick to put ourselves down. We're so quick to point out all the things that are wrong with us that we don't point out or highlight or embrace the things that are right with us. And there are so many things that are right with us. And Toastmasters helps you realize and allows you to grow on that. So it's a wonderful organization.
Yeah, it
Wonderful
sounds
organization.
sounds like there's a lot of positivity there and positive reinforcement
Yes,
and acceptance of failure. It's all part of that process.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
fantastic. That's so awesome. And you're, uh, of course, you're the top of the Toastmasters that I've had on the show, but I
Oh,
have had Ruben. I've had Ruben on the show. I've also had Valentin Miradzikwa from Johannesburg, and he's the local president out in Johannesburg, South Africa. And yeah, it's so awesome. I'm so pleased to be able to bring your inspiration and bring your positivity and motivation to the viewers, because that's, I think, an important factor these days. It's so important to be positive, but it's also a time to challenge ourselves and do something new. This is an opportunity to do something new, and you can do it virtually, I guess.
yes.
Are they actually having get together meetings, or is it all going Zoom now type thing?
Actually, in a few hours, I'll be giving a presentation for India,
Oh, that's right.
Toastmasters in India.
Yeah.
And, people look at COVID, and I realize it is a tragedy we've had to experience this. But if you can find that silver lining, and that silver lining for Toastmasters with COVID is that we are now being able to go all around the world, join all these different meetings with all these different members. And even though we're structured all the same with the meetings and everything, you learn something different from every single meeting that you attend, especially if you step out of your comfort zone. Just like I said, you're used to the members that are in your club, so you get complacent with being able to present in front of them. But then people invite you to different meetings from all over the world, and then you present for them, or you just listen in on how they present, and it's a whole different world. It is so amazing to be able to see all the different facets of all the different clubs. And so right now, like I said, in a few hours I'll be giving a humor workshop for India, and I'm looking forward to that. So
Oh, okay. So you're teaching is what you're doing tonight, kind of,
uh,
or
if you want to call it that,
yeah.
I just think I'm talking
Okay.
and I'm sharing my experiences. And then if you learn something, great. And if not, then I hope I entertain you for the time that you listened.
Well, you definitely can make people laugh. That's a for real.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, And laughter is healing medicine. It's
Yes,
really important that we laugh. I think that that's really awesome that you include that into your presentations for sure. Um, I want to just say I want to recite some things by Tony Robbins that I think are going to apply here. I wanted to put these out. I meant to say it at the beginning, but of course, I really admire Tony Robbins. He's a powerful speaker as well.
he
Uh,
is.
is that goals are like magnets, he says, and that they'll attract the things that make them come true. And he also said setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. And so that's what we're talking about tonight, hopefully, is to inspire people to step into that fear, maybe step up and get involved in Toastmasters and refine their skills and learn from people like yourself, Louisa.
Hopefully so. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's so awesome. So, you were involved in the healthcare industry, obviously, for quite a
Yes.
number of years. I was curious to know what you were doing. Are you a scientist, or
No,
what?
absolutely not.
What's
I
happening?
love the fact that you're able to use laboratories at the end of, because that's what Abbott was. It's Abbott Laboratories.
Yeah.
They also hit their 100-year mark a while back, but there was branch of Laboratories there in Austin, Texas. And
Uh-huh.
I remember when I went to go apply for a job, as soon as I moved there, I went to the Texas Employment Commission and stood in line for about an hour and filled out all my forms and paperwork. And I really didn't know where I wanted to work or what I wanted to do. And the lady, I wish I knew her name, God bless her. She said, "Wow, well, you've got a lot of warehouse experience." And I
Mhm.
said, "Yes, ma'am." She goes, "Oh, well, you can do this and this and this." She goes, "You know what? Abbott Laboratories quit taking applications, but I'm going to submit your application anyway because I think you'd be the perfect fit for that company." And I said, "Thank you so much." And it was because of that, because of her, I was able to actually get in to the company, and they had such a wonderful 401k pension plan. They had annuity, they had savings, they had all this good stuff. And I remember asking my dad, I said, "Dad, should I do this? I mean, for every dollar I'm going to put in savings, they're going to give me 50 cents."
Wow.
And he said, "You can't go to any bank where you give them a dollar and they're going to give you $1.50 back." He said, "So
Right.
any kind of opportunity like that, take that." So I did. But I actually started at the bottom level, which was the manufacturing level, where
Uh-huh.
you had to make quota. So it was all manual labor. And I had no problem with that. In fact, I remember we'd be doing our quota and I'd be either singing or telling jokes or entertaining the rest of the workers there. And it was so much fun for me. I slowly moved up the ladder, and about 8 years before I retired, I actually got a really nice job. And I thought I would never leave that job. It was great pay and it wasn't so much physical labor as it had been in the past. And then when my father passed away, that's when I realized it's time for me to go spend as much time with my mother. So I left a great job and thankful to them and Abbott Laboratories for giving me the opportunity to be able to actually invest in myself and in my future, that I was able to retire early. So no, I was not a scientist or anything like that. I don't think my mind works that way. My brother, yes, me, no.
And every position in every job anywhere is all important because it all takes that teamwork
Oh
together.
yes.
And yeah, so it doesn't even matter what you do, the fact that you are and you're doing is the important factor, no matter what it is. Um, that is really cool. Now, you obviously care about community, you care about people, and you care about dogs. And this is awesome. Okay. So you care about the community and people getting along with each other, and you care about these homeless dogs. What prompted you to to decide to do that, or is this something that's always been there? You were the one that brought the lost dog or lost cat or animal home to and said, "Oh, look, we need to take care of them."
That's an excellent question. And believe it or not, I'm a cat person.
Ah,
But
okay. I
but
love cats too.
I do remember as a child wanting to be a veterinarian. And this is going to be probably the one thing that I want you to take away from what I went through was when I realized I didn't have, or I didn't believe in myself to have the proper mindset to be able to go through the chemistry and the biology and all the sciences that I would have needed to have gone through to be able to obtain a veterinarian degree. In the end, after I retired, I kind of did everything backwards. You're never too old to follow your dream. And what I did was I reevaluated what it was my actual dream. I thought my dream had been to be a veterinarian, but I realize now, looking back, that if a kid had come in and they were going to have to put their dog down, I don't think I would have been able to have mentally gone through the process to be able to tell a child that their dog is sick and needs to be put down. So I'm glad that I was spared that. I went and reevaluated and realized it wasn't so much being a veterinarian as it was I wanted to help animals. And by helping animals, that was going to give me a sense of pride in doing what I did. When I went on Facebook about 4 years ago, a friend of a friend of a friend of mine had posted something somewhere along the lines of, there's a mother dog and 6 puppies. Can anybody take care of them for a month? And I went, I can do that. Sure, just feed them, let them out, clean them up, that kind of stuff, no problem. Before I realized it, I had 89 dogs in my backyard. And that's kind of where that went.
Uh,
And once I realized that there was such an overwhelming need to address this situation in South Texas, that's when I started dedicating more of my time to that. And by the situation in South Texas, right now in the United States, I believe South Texas is the worst place for a homeless animal.
uh,
Because within 3 days of taking an animal to a shelter, whether it's because it got loose, it's a stray, uh, there's no spaying and neutering down here, the animal is euthanized. So we're
oh,
number one for euthanizing animals that are healthy, animals that could be adopted. So my goal for the next 10 years, and this is now my mindset, is I'm going to be looking for someone who can donate $1 million. So, and I will work day and night. I don't need an income, but I will work day and night to get rid of the fact that we are the worst place here in the United States for euthanizing animals. And if I can implement a spay and neuter program, I will give all the glory to whoever donates money. I don't need the glory. I just want the animals to stop being euthanized. And the way to do that would be to start spaying and neutering every single homeless animal, every people in areas that cannot afford this kind of medical treatment for their animals. People here, I don't want to say it's ignorance. I think it's naivety. We're naive enough to not realize that the way to stop this is by spaying and neutering. And there's so many wonderful rescues out there, such as Rough House Rescue from New York. They have gone and dedicated so much time and effort into helping South Texas. But they say rescue is like emptying the ocean with a teaspoon. I want to nip it in the bud at the beginning of where the problem is, and to me, that is implementing the spay and neuter program down here. So at the age of 61, I'm giving myself 10 years to get this done. So hopefully by the time I'm 70, we will have taken ourselves off the list of being the worst place in the United States for an animal.
oh, that is so honorable. That is so awesome. And I just offer now that I'll do what I can too through my medium to help you with that. I know that of course my sister, she's a cat person, and she does the same. You know,
There you go.
she fosters cats. She was involved in the Humane Society as a
Yes.
board member for many years. My mother still volunteers down there,
Oh,
and so yeah, pets are important, and you're making a good point that they need to be spayed and neutered
yes.
because there's so many animals out there that just need a good home,
Hmm.
and putting them to death, I don't like to think about that.
Yep.
Um, so yes, adopt a pet, folks. From your local
Dr. Pet
humane
or spay and neuter.
society.
Spay and neuter.
Spay and neuter your pets. Absolutely. So that's really awesome. So we'll have to definitely talk about that and get abreast of that and see how I can help you there too as well.
Thank
Because
you.
that's kind of what my dream with this foundation is as well, is to help support other foundations and people like yourself that would be doing that. Okay.
Excellent.
Awesome. So we need, if you're listening, money to do this stuff, right?
And if there's any money left over, you get that back. I don't need any of that. I'll show you receipts. I'll do everything
Well,
you want.
that's
But
honorable. That's
I'm ready to
honorable.
work tirelessly for this idea.
That's incredible. That's so incredible. Awesome. Now, if people wanted to reach out to you, then how will they do that?
You can, and I said, I shouldn't have said that. You never start a
I
sentence with
was told you weren't going to say that tonight. That's my job. And ahs. It's in my affirmation. You don't say and ahs, and then I realized, don't
There you go.
say don't. I speak clearly and concisely.
There you go. And you do very well also.
Oh, thanks.
The way that can reach out to me is I am on Facebook. I am on TikTok. I don't do a lot of the applications that I think the younger crowd does, like Snapchat and Instagram and stuff like that. I don't do
Right.
that. LinkedIn, I'm not on that. But Luisa Montalvo, I'm on Facebook, TikTok. If anybody needs to get a hold of me, they can try and locate me there. Friend request. I've gotten so many friend requests from people all over the world, from Toastmasters all over the world. It's amazing, and I'm so grateful for that. So if
Sweet.
anybody can steer me in any direction that can help me, I'm all ears. I'm ready to get this project on the road. I'm ready to hit the ground running, and I'm ready
Yeah.
to work tirelessly to get this job done.
Do you have a name for this rescue project?
Uh,
Well,
it,
not
it,
necessarily
uh,
rescue, but it is rescue and it's spay and neuter program. You got a name for it though yet?
Uh, I have I have a name. I haven't implemented any 501c3 into it yet, but it
Okay.
would be Foxtrot and Friends Foundation. And Foxtrot was a very special dog of mine. Lost her about 6 months ago, but she was a special needs dog. She was amazing. She didn't realize she had a disability. And if we can mentally erase any disability we think we have, what we are able to accomplish is amazing, and that's what she had. That was her spirit, and so I would want it to live on in the foundation. So it would be Foxtrot and Friends Foundation, and I need to get into the 501c3 to be able to implement that. But yes, thank you so much for asking. That's still in the works. I haven't gotten there yet, but thank
That's
you.
excellent. And I have filed for the 501c3 for our foundation. We're just anxiously awaiting to get the okay back from the
There you go.
IRS. I know they're probably swamped with it. But I remember when I was filling out the forms, actually, that's what they used was animal rescue and or humane society type of thing. So yeah, pets are important. That's what we're saying here, and
Absolutely.
they are. They need to be taken care of. And pet therapy, awesome stuff, right? Yeah,
Yes.
sure. So we really appreciate the fact that you took time to join us. I'm just so blessed by that. Thank you so very much.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, namaste. You're so awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. We will collaborate in the future, absolutely.
Yes.
And if anybody has questions or concerns, in for whatever reason, all you have to do is go to YouTube to look up that video and put in Luisa Montalvo, and that video is going to come up for you, by the way.
There you go.
But if you're having any troubles, reach out to us. Of course, we're here. Send me a message. I'll make sure that we get you connected to Luisa. Okay.
Thank you.
We want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank Luisa. Thank you very much. Bless you for being here this evening.
Thank
Uh,
you.
we'll close the rest of this show out with our sponsors. Get to know them. Do give them a call for your air conditioning as well as heating. And yeah, we need heating lately here in Florida, which is a surprise. It's normally air. But your electrical needs as well as your plumbing needs, and you're anywhere from Tampa down to Naples, contact Cool Today. I'm going to just run that banner here if I can get to that point. And Total Coating. So if you want your bathtub refinished, save a whole bunch of money with a safe and non-toxic coating. Total Coatings here in Sarasota, Manatee counties. We certainly appreciate it. So thank you so very much, everybody. I hope that you have a great weekend. Have a good Friday. God bless you. And
Yes.
we'll see everybody on Monday. We have Guy Brolando, great guy. He's going to talk to us about health. He's got a book out. So join us Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In the meantime, take care. We'll see everybody soon.
We let our bathtub go too long. It had rust in it, it had deep pitting in it, there were chips. I, quite frankly, thought it was unrepairable.
Total Coatings is a family-owned and operated bathtub and shower refinishing company. We've been around since 2006, but we use a exclusive non-toxic porcelain coating that was developed over 60 years ago by a franchise in California. So the product is very well established. We refinish bathtubs, showers, wall tile, countertops, and even sinks. Customers want to know what makes our product different, and that's, of course, the exclusive non-toxic porcelain. We also don't acid etch the surface, so you don't have to leave your home because of noxious fumes.
I was completely and utterly shocked. It looked like a brand new bathtub. I would recommend Total Coatings to anybody.